What? You did
All
what?
right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
It is so wonderful to be here tonight with everyone. And as people are coming on in, I want to introduce myself. I'm Rabbi Alanna, joined here by Maura Barbara and Dave on guitar. And Dave is going to open up tonight's service with Kiva Moed. And this is Bina. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. It's so great to be here tonight and great to be here with hey David and hi Sharon and hi Steve, hi Vivian and hi everyone else who's logging in. It is great to be here. Take a second and introduce yourself in the chat and where you're joining us from here tonight. We are going to begin our service with a song that this time of year, because we are heading into Hanukkah next week, beginning on Thursday night at sundown, a song by Debbie Friedman of blessed memory that picks up on verses from the Haftarah that we read during Hanukkah. Not by might, not by power, but by your spirit alone shall we all live in peace. And as we light up the darkness with our Chanukiot, with our menorahs, adding just a little bit more light each night, we also add a little more light to the darkness around us. The darkness as it comes in this time of year, days getting shorter, but our light that we shine from one person to the next, getting brighter and brighter and warmer and warmer. And so not by might, not by power, but by spirit alone shall we all live in peace. Take it away, Dave. Sing it again. and we call ourselves into story out of that message of not by might, not by power, but by spirit alone. We call ourselves back, way back in time to, I don't know, the old country. Any old country, but this one happens to be one where Rabbi Israel ben Eliezer lived a long time ago, long before he was known as the Baal Shem Tov, the great storyteller who would become the father of the Hasidic Jewish movement and the sower of stories throughout the Ashkenazi Jewish world. And he and his wife Hannah lived in a small town in the mountains. During the week, Rabbi Israel wandered all by himself in the dense forests there. He loved nature, and he studied everything he saw: the deer and the fawns, the birds and the squirrels, all of the animals that were in the forest. During the week, all week long, during all kinds of weather, in the summer or in the winter, he would walk alone and meditate among the trees. And on Friday, just before sundown, he would return home for Shabbat. And as he would walk through those woods, he would hear ringing and resounding the sounds of the songs of Kabbalat Shabbat wafting out of the homes. And he would know when he could hear Lecha Dodi that it was time to return to light the Shabbat candles. Page 9, Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'litchina. Hey!
Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana, Lekabela.
Hi, 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 yanai, hi, yanai, yanai, nai, nai, yanai, hi, yanai, yanai, nai, 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 yanai, 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 nai, nai, yanai, nai, yanai, yanai, nai, nai, nai. Hey!
Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana,
We
Lekabela.
rise as we face the entrances of our homes for Boi v'Shalom, Ateret Bala, Gam Besimcha uVetzolai, Ayato Emunei Hamsekula, Boi Chala, Boi Chala. Hey!
Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kala, Yarada, 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 Neshana, Lekabela.
And we remain standing in spirit or in body as we bless the source of life with the Baruch Hu on page 10.
As we bless the source of life, if so we are blessed. As we gives us strength. He makes our vision clear, and the blessing gives us peace and the courage to take as we face the source of life. So
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvarei choshech osei shalom Mariv aravim b'chokhmah. And we roll night into darkness and darkness into light as together we roll into dark.
Roll down, roll down. Night becomes deep, teachers tonight. Roll into dark, roll down. Night becomes deep, teachers tonight. Rolling on my life, rolling on the deep ocean, rolling on the deep ocean, and worship me. Rolling stars, rolling light, night becomes deep, teachers tonight. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes deep, teachers
Tonight.
rolling on my life, rolling on the ocean, rolling on the ocean, you worship me.
And as we feel the darkness rolling in after the light, we put our hands over our eyes and open our ears, closing out all of the things around us that might be swirling, thoughts about the week, noises, distractions, beeping and ringing devices and notifications, as Maura Barbara leads us in the Shema.
Mommy.
Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela ha'el
Hayom
Asher
alevavecha,
Hayom alevavecha v'shinantan levanecha v'tibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lachtecha b'derech uv'shachpacha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu latotafu beinenecha uv'chaptam hamezuzot beitecha
And so we return to the story of the man who would become the Baal Shem Tov, because it was around this time, as Night followed day earlier and earlier, and day turned to night, and the nights were longer and the days were shorter, and it was the week in which Hanukkah would be celebrated. And when that week came, Rabbi Israel told his wife, when that week came, Rabbi Israel told his wife, with God's help, I will return home on the eve of Hanukkah in order to light the first candle. But if for some reason I am late and I haven't arrived before sundown, don't wait for me, but light the candle by yourself and put the Hanukkah menorah in the window. And so on the eve of Hanukkah, just as Rabbi Israel was about ready to return home, it started to snow, and a strong wind arose. He stopped being able to see the wildlife all around him. The wind swirled so hard and so fast, and the snow began to fall so quickly that he could barely see the trees, and soon a blizzard was raging. Rabbi Israel buttoned up his coat and leaned on his heavy staff, trying to make his way through the storm. Darkness was falling, and for the first time in his life, Rabbi Israel, even in the familiar forest where he so often felt at home, was lost. He could not find the narrow path that led to his home. He walked and walked, but somehow always returned to the same place. Yet because of his trust in God, his trust in the forest, his trust in himself, he did not lose faith. He was only upset that he might not be able to get home in time to light the first candle on the first night of Hanukkah. And he was exhausted. He sat down to rest on a large stone and was so tired that he fell asleep. While he slept, an image appeared to him in his dream of a tall old man carrying a candle in his hand. "Who are you?" the sleeping rabbi asked in his dream. The old man replied, "I am Mattathias, father of the Maccabees, father of Judah Maccabee, and I have brought this candle for you." At that instant, Rabbi Israel awoke, and he was able to make out the dim shape of a person walking before him through the swirling snow. He couldn't see who it was, but that person held a menorah in his hand, and with one candle burning in it, he could just barely see the path ahead of him. A miracle, he wondered? No, surely not. It's just someone else in the forest walking out on the first night of Hanukkah. But maybe, just maybe? No. Mattathias lived so long ago, it couldn't possibly be. But he started off walking after that menorah down the path, and the man in the storm, just like our ancestors did as they took their first steps to cross the sea. That first step of faith and of belief from slavery in Egypt to freedom in the wilderness. Following that menorah through the snow, following the trust that the waters will part, we turn to Mi Chamocha. Take it away, Mi Chamocha 22. And that menorah walking through the swirling snow and the waters opening before our forefathers reminded them, just as the everyday miracles around us remind us, that everything is going to be all right. Hashkivenu, page 23. Everything is going to be all right.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, V'Amidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, V'Amidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu V'Shalom, V'Amidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu V'Shalom, V'Amidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
So Rabbi Israel picked up his staff and started walking, following the light of the flame. For what seemed hours, he never let it out of his sight. At last he saw that he was not far from the place where he walked each Shabbat. As he came closer, he started to recognize the fields and trees that he saw each time he was approaching his own village. Then he finally saw his own house. And there was his Hanukkah menorah in its window, the first candle lit with a clear and bright flame. Rabbi Israel's wife stood outside the house, wrapped in her heavy winter shawl with a deeply worried look on her face. It was already past midnight, and she was afraid that something had happened to him in the terrible storm. When he appeared on the path, she ran to him and embraced him. "Thank God you've come home alive." There were tears of happiness in her eyes. "When it was becoming dark," she said, "and you hadn't returned, I lit the first night of Hanukkah candle by myself. I didn't wait for you, just as you said. I was terrified, for I was sure it must be a sign that you were in danger. But you had told me to light it if you didn't get home in time, and so I did, even though usually we light them together." Then Rabbi Israel understood what had happened. Mattathias had seen across the generations, across the millennia, across space and time, the light of his own menorah lit in his window, and the love in his family, and used his very own menorah to guide him back home. The rabbi told his wife about his dream and about the silent figure who had guided him through the forest. Before they entered the house, he pointed to the window, and she saw that the menorah, in its place, was just a little bit over from where she had put it. There were wax drippings over here, and now it seemed like the wax was collecting in a different place. She looked at her husband and said, No, that was just a dream. It couldn't be true." And with a shrug, she scooched the menorah back into its original location, looked at the dreidels next to it, looked at the mezuzah on her door, scratched her head, and said, "Wherever you are, Thank you. And in they went to eat their Hanukkah dinner of latkes. And each year, as they lit their candles, they remembered the great miracle that happened here, as they remembered the great miracle that happened there and that keeps happening to us anytime we are brave enough and bold enough to follow the light back to safety, and especially when we are brave enough and bold enough to be the ones who light a candle to lead the ones we love back home. And so, whether you think that Mattathias, Judah Maccabee's father, had a time machine, or whether you think that it was just a dream and a coincidence, I want to invite you to rise in spirit or in body for our silent Amidah, our moment to give thanks to the source of all, for all of the miracles you experience in your life, all of the wonderful things, the surprises, the joy, the gifts you have of family, of friendship, of love. Those things that maybe you don't even notice as miracles, but if they were to disappear from your life, something would be missing. And so we take a minute in silent prayer to give thanks for all of the things that bring light into our lives. O say shalom, our prayer for peace, page 30.
Oh, say
As we move through this gateway of our prayer for peace, we move into a space where we turn our hearts towards everyone who's in need of a little bit of healing. Healing of body, healing of mind, healing of spirit, healing of broken expectations, healing of broken plans, things that you hoped would be happening right now that are canceled and put on hold. This is a year where it's okay to admit, it's always okay to admit, but especially this year, where it's okay to admit that we're all in need of a little bit of healing, and to name that, and to find the people. Maybe some of them are sitting with you right now, or are up and down in the names of this chat, or here on this screen, or just one text message or one call away, who might help heal some of that hurt, and who might help bring back some of that wholeness. So I'm going to read the list of names that I have for our Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayer for healing, and I also want to invite you to share in the chat anyone who you're thinking of who could use a little bit of healing right now. And we'll sing our healing prayer. And this evening we're thinking of and sending our hopes for healing to Roberta Archibald, Arden Bell, Carol Mueller-Bell, Ruth Belzer, Rabbi Deborah Bowen, Sarah Sarulnik, Bill Conrad, Robin Kupo, Francesca Dever, Eric Gershman, Jonathan Giannini, Patrick Gibson, George and Gail Glansberg, Hal Goodman, Talia Gottesman, Amy Gross, Alberta Hall, Cordula Hamish, Peter Hoagland, Janelle Hoagland, Chava Hurley, Michelle Kalish, Sharon Cass, Fran Kaufman, Elsie Lieberstein, Len McEwen, Robert Mueller, Anthony Nero, Lisa Nicholson, Stan Pollock, Abby Rosenberg, Mike Rosenberg, Shelley Sanders, Willie Schneer, Bertha Schwartz, Margaret Steiber, Ellen Stewerman, Lloyd Suter, Jeff Taylor, Lynn Van Engel, Isabel Vita, Stan Weckstein, Millie Weisman, Grace Zangwill, Sonia Frischkin Zangwill, Eileen Zeff, and Nicholas Basquiano, and all those whose names are going to appear in our chat as we sing, and we'll read those aloud after our prayer in song.
May the source of strength to bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishebera imo teinu meko abraha lavo teinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say,
Amen. Yeah, Doug Proudman, Mike Garst, and Rob Johnson, and Dorothy Berlin to our list, as well as all of those who are moving through their battles with COVID-19 and everyone who is caring for them. And we say, Amen. And so this year we have been on a journey through the holidays, through a very special lens. This year, starting with Rosh Hashanah and moving into a retelling of the Jonah story for Yom Kippur, Sadie's Sukkah breakfast for Sukkot, and Simchat Torah featuring some epic trivia. Since we have been unable to be in our own building this year, our very own David Z has brought our building to us through stop motion animation. And tonight, premiering for the very first time, it'll drop on YouTube later this week, and we'll show it again next week at our Friday night Shabbat Hanukkah. I bring you, without further ado, the world premiere of David's a very stop motion Hanukkah.
Or Hadash presents Hanukkah.
Tonight for Hanukkah, we're going to play dreidel.
A nun. Shoot a shin. Close a hay. Yes, a gimel!
Congrats! And remember, Nes Gadol Hayasham means a great miracle happened there. That's why we have Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin. And enjoy the chocolate. Let's light the menorah! And the oil in the Maccabee story lasted 8 days, so we light the menorah for 8 nights. It's time for the latke tasting. Mmm! Yum! Wow, these latkes are good! While I make my decision, here's our choir. All right, I'm back. And after much thought, I've made my decision. The winning potato latke out of 2 delicious entries is, drumroll please, the
Thanks for watching!
family.
Written by David, music by David, Rabbi Stephanie, other voices David, pictures by David, props by David, sets by David, pieces by eBay! And a special thanks for the Hadash choir clip provided by Rabbi Alanna. Thank you!
Woo! That was awesome, David. And a big yesher koach to you on that fabulous, fabulous installment of a very stop motion year of the holidays. I'm excited to put that up on our YouTube channel. And also a big yesher koach that actually was our Makela singing Mao Tzor. The full recording we're going to share later on as Hanukkah begins, and a big shout out to Josh McHugh and the entire Makela for recording a new song each month. And this month, for Hanukkah, the selection is Mao Tzor, and I look forward to unveiling that together with all of you as we light the Chanukiah together throughout the week, starting on Thursday night, but more about that in a moment. And so I want to invite everyone to rise in spirit or in body for Aleinu on page 34. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah hatemet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yihyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo U'shemo echad. We can be seated. And before we turn to one another and say Shabbat Shalom and happy birthday to our December birthdays, I don't know if there's a birthday poem over there or no. Okay, great. We take a moment to turn to our memories of those whom we've loved and lost in our lives, and whose lives and legacies inform the way that we live our own lives today. This week, we mark the yortzites in our community of Randy Bernardo, sister of Amy Amatacardos, Robert Vandeveer, father of John Elliott Vandeveer, Phyllis Applebaum, mother of Ruth Mermelstein, Mary Quigley, mother of Bill Quigley, Nahoma Chebet, mother of Jeff Chebet, Alexander Roden, grandfather of Mike Roden, and Stanley Jacobs, cousin of Barbara Weisman. I want to invite mourners and those observing a yortzeit to rise in spirit or in body for Mourners Kaddish on page 36. And if there's anyone for whom you're saying Kaddish who's not on our list tonight, I want to invite you to share their names in the chat so that we can call all of them to our hearts and our minds tonight. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemeh Rabbi. Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemeh tekudsha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing for all of us. And so, I am super excited to say a big Yom Huledet Sameach to all of those among us who have birthdays in the month of December. And we have one very big birthday this month. A big shout out. Eliana Burson is turning 21 on the 10th. Happy birthday, Eliana. Also this month, Eli is turning 12 and Miles is turning 8. And I will not read any ages or stages for any of our other names, but happy birthday, you know who you are, to Jim, Amy, Chava, who is also turning a big birthday, which one I won't say, Brian Smithman, who's turning 28, Ivy, Scott, Leslie, David, Jill, Shelley, Betty, Hal, Alan, Jason, Zach, Kristen, Brianna, Lowell, Cheryl, Barry, Jill, Rick, Irene, Shelley, Ben, Charlie, Jim, and Jessica. Happy birthday to all of those awesome December birthdays. And actually, I have to say, a very, very special birthday to Scott Crespi, whose birthday is today. So, Scott, if you were here with us in person today at Or Hadash, you, my friend, would be getting the first slice of cake tonight. So, let's sing a giant Yom Yom Huledet to all of our fabulous December birthdays.
Hayom Yom Huledet, Hayom Yom Huledet, Hayom Yom Huledet leChaveri. Hayom Yom Huledet, Hayom Yom Huledet leChaveri. Anu Sameach V'Zeh Pareach, Hayom Yom Huledet leChaveri. Anu Sameach V'Zeh Pareach, Hayom Yom Huledet leChaveri.
Yom Huledet Sameach. And L'chaim.
Oh,
L'chaim.
And Mora, Barbara, and Boo, will you lead us in a little Kiddush?
okay. It was a little quiet, but I'll do. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodshal b'yachava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila l'mikrah kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki elenu karata Yotanu kidashta lavodatecha v'shabbat kodshecha v'yahava uvratzon hinkatanu aruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
L'chaim. L'chaim.
The doggy wants some
Who was
wine.
more interested in the challah roll?
Oh, okay. That's what
Well,
he was
Boo, do you
thinking
want to lead us in Hamotzi?
Oh, he's actually down there wagging his tail because that's his favorite time of the week. And he actually waits while we're saying, he knows when we do Kiddush, next comes Motzi, next he gets challah. So, in honor of Boo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz.
Amen.
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 V'te'avon. And so,
Hey, I do.
and so
Very happy.
before we sing our way out, with a closing song of Dave's choice, I want to make a couple of announcements, share a couple of messages with folks about what's going on in the community over the next couple of weeks. First of all, Mora Barbara has a very important announcement about a bat mitzvah happening, not next Shabbat, but the Shabbat after. Mora Barbara.
Yes. Thank you, Rabbi Alanna. So we have something really special. So this has been an odd year, to say the least. And if you could imagine having a simcha at this time, I would think that the one thing that would get you through and make it special, more special for you, is the love of community. And so we have a special project. Rabbi Alanna, myself, and the Chesed Committee invite you to please take notice of the email that went out this afternoon. And in it, there are instructions for something called Vid Hug. So Vid Hug is a way for you to give the bat mitzvah. We have several bat mitzvah this year, and we invite you to send a greeting first to Jesse Modelson. We've asked you to do this by December 14th. It's super, super easy. Just click on that link and you just record a little message, mazel tov, wish her and her family joy in their simcha, and let them feel the light of community. And it's very, very easy. If you have any problems whatsoever, I would be only too happy to help you with it. My cell phone was in the message as well. Give me a call. I don't think you're going to need it, but I'd be happy to walk you through. So we are really, really aiming for 100% participation for our community. That would be just amazing for Jesse to hit, on that link and just be bombarded with love from her community. So please, please just take a moment or two to do that. And it would mean all the difference in the world to her and her family.
Fabulous. Thanks, Mora
Good
Barbara.
Shabbos.
This week, starting on Thursday night, we will be lighting the Chanukiah, lighting the menorah every night together on Zoom for Hanukkah at 6:30 p.m. every night. The Zoom will open at 6:15 for anyone who wants to schmooze. Candle lighting right on at 6:30, and then a brief little bissel of something afterwards. A book, a latke recipe, a story, a song being shared by 8 different members of our fabulous community. So 6:30 p.m., 8 nights, 18 minutes. Join us for Hanukkah. And lastly, on Saturday night of Hanukkah, that's December the 12th, we are going to be attending together as a community from home, a live concert by the amazing Jewish bluegrass band Nefesh Mountain. If you're a member of Or Hadash or a digital subscriber, and if you are not yet a member and not yet a digital subscriber, this is a great time to contact Nadine at office@orhadash.com and join us, or subscribe if you're an out-of-towner to our digital subscription. Because tickets are $9.99 per household for the Nefesh Mountain concert, but it is actually a gift from us to all of our members and digital subscribers to be able to use a special link to sign up for a free ticket as our gift, our Hanukkah gift to all of you. To join us and join your fabulous community together at this Nefesh Mountain concert. It's going to be our congregation, a couple of other congregations, some folks who purchased tickets, and folks from all across the country tuning in together for a wonderful Hanukkah live show. It's going to be fabulous. If you're a Nefesh Mountain fan, or if you're just a fan of good music or bluegrass or Americana, they are awesome, and I'm putting their name down in the chat if you want to check them out on YouTube and see what all the fuss is about before you hit them up for a concert. Nefesh Mountain, check them out, and that's Saturday night the 12th. And the last message is that I want to give a quick save the date shout out. January 30th. I know it sounds like a super long way away, but January 30th, we are going to be marking my installation as rabbi here at Or Hadash. You might have thought, Rabbi Alanna, you've been here for quite some time, but because of COVID-19, we may have put off my installation a little bit. So join us on January 30th, right here on YouTube Live, on Zoom, as we mark my official installation as rabbi here at Or Hadash. And we can't wait to celebrate with all of you, learn together, sing together, hang out at a concert together, light Hanukkah candles. Be joined next Thursday afternoon by the next Thursday, or I think it's the last night of Hanukkah Thursday, by the author of Queen of the Hanukkah Dosas to read us her book and take questions about what it's like to be a PJ Library children's author. Join us. What a wonderful lineup we have for Hanukkah and beyond. We're super psyched that you're here tonight and can't wait to hang out with you in the future. So Shabbat Shalom from all of us at Or Hadash, and take us on out, Dave.
Put on your yarmulke, here comes Hanukkah. So much Hanukkah, celebrate Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we have eight crazy nights. David Lee Roth lights the menorah. Sorry, when you feel like you're in town without a Christmas tree. Here's a list of people who are Jewish, just like you and me. Now, David Lee Roth lights the menorah. So did James Kirk Douglas and the late Dinah Shore. Yes, you together at the former Piccadilly. And our early. All the movies have Jewish, golden horn dancing. Put them both together. What's the fine looking Jew? You don't need death halls or jingle bell run.
When you can spin the dreidel with Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, both Jewish.
Put on the yarmulke. It's time for Hanukkah. The old Seattle Sonicas celebrate Hanukkah. Also the owner of the Eagles, for that matter. And the Sixers.
And his guy Dave Levinson too.
O.J. Simpson, not a Jew. But guess who is? Hall of Famer, Rod Carew. Conversion. We got Ann Landers and our sister dear Abby. Harrison Ford's a quarter Jewish. Not chatty. Some people get taken as Sturgis, but he's not. And guess who is? Oh, Three Stooges. So many Jews are in showbiz. Tom Cruise is, but I heard his agent is. Tell your friend Veronica, it's time to celebrate Hanukkah. Hope you get a harmonica on your lovely Hanukkah. So bring your friends Hanukkah and play that harmonica. Really, really Hanukkah. Have a
happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Nice choice.